The Itential ServiceNow app provides a streamlined method of integrating both ServiceNow and Itential platforms together, so network infrastructure automations that are built and published on the Itential platform can be easily accessed and run by users in the ServiceNow platform. In our first release of this app, we enabled the ability to expose network automations to ServiceNow users through the use of a visual self-service catalog that discovers published automations and dynamically renders forms in real time, so ServiceNow users can access and run automations to query the network for operational data, request and receive network resources or services, or make changes to existing network services. In this latest release of the app, we're extending these integration capabilities even further to enable ServiceNow developers and development teams to access and run Itential network automations from within a ServiceNow Flow through the use of Itential Actions. Let's take a look at using Itential Actions in a flow. Here I am in Flow Designer, and all I really need to do is I've created an initial flow, so I've created a new flow, set the trigger condition here, but really what we want to do is add an action. So if I click here to add an action, I can select action, and from the drop down, if I select or search for Itential, you'll see the Itential automation services. These are the actions that are available. Authenticating to an Itential server, as well as running automations, getting metrics, getting results and responses and statuses back, as well as some job control are available to you. So we can just simply pick an automation or an Itential action here. In this case, it's an authentication. It's going to leverage the existing configuration that's already been done on the platform through the app with integrating and authenticating to the different Itential platforms that we have available to us. And from here, I can select which platform I want to access from this action. So in this case, we can select one of our development instances. And if I click done here, now I've set up an action to get a token. I can add another action. Add the Itential services. In this case, I can select an action to list all of the automations that have been published that I have access to. Again, we want to select from the list of Itential automation platforms that have been integrated into the ServiceNow instance. And then I can leverage the existing token from the first action by simply dragging it from here and dropping it in. And with that, we could run this and using two Itential actions, authenticate to a server, and then get a list of automations from the server that have been published that we have access to. And from that, we could manipulate and use that data within a ServiceNow flow. So it's as simple as that, using these automations to now enhance and give access to all these automations, when enables and opens up the possibility to allow any IT process to access network infrastructure through a published Itential automation. Now let's take a look at this flow example. In this example, it's a little more complex. We have a couple more steps. We're getting the authentication token from the Itential platform like we did in the first example we just built. In this case now, we're running the automation, an automation that's been assigned to an API endpoint. So we have an API endpoint called App Connectivity Service, and you'll notice here we're passing some data to it. This data is statically assigned as in the format of a JSON object. However, this data could be dynamically generated from other parts of a ServiceNow flow and other queries and things like that. Once this is executed, we're looping. So now we're using some ServiceNow core logics or some flow logic here to loop through. And we're going to first call another Itential action called automation get status. This allows us to query the automation platform to determine whether a job that's been started, in this case in step 2 we've started this automation job, whether it's running or completed. This loop condition will occur until it's complete, waiting 5 seconds afterwards. So this is a great example of how you can use ServiceNow actions along with other actions and Itential actions to start building logic and really more complex flows for automating IT processes. So we can test this. So if I click here and choose just a test request, this will start to run. One of the new features while this is running is the ability to take a look at jobs that have been triggered in the platform. So this allows a ServiceNow admin or even a ServiceNow user that has access to go into our platform and get a report, audit or a report, to take a look at what jobs were running automations. The job ID, which is useful for the Itential platform. This is a unique ID when the job is run. But which server, the action that initiated it, was it from the application or was it from an Itential action in a flow? Along with other information like when it was run and who ran it. In the Itential platform, you're always going to get a complete readout of all the jobs that are running. But again, because this is being called from a ServiceNow Flow, we can go into the Itential platform and take a look at the flow, how the flow called an Itential automation. And this is the automation that it called. So it ran from ServiceNow, and this is provisioning network infrastructure across multiple domains. So it's really orchestrating a series of automations that's been published in this workflow in the Itential platform in order to create some sort of app connectivity service that may need resources from a data center, access through SD-WAN, an SD-WAN controller, and even configuring portions of the cloud network infrastructure in order to enable application connectivity. So all of that's being done in the Itential platform, but triggered and run from within the ServiceNow Flow. So our testing is finished. We know it's ran because we saw it in the triggered jobs report on ServiceNow, and we just looked at it in the Itential platform. But you'll notice here, as we take a look at this test run, every step of the Itential actions here for getting token, running the automation, getting the status, and then looping until complete was done. So I hope this was helpful in order to show how Itential Actions that are available in the new ServiceNow app can help your organization bridge the gap between IT applications and network infrastructure. Thank you.